Okay, I want to, if I can, call the first meeting of our newly reconstituted security meeting to order. As you know, we've historically combined safety and security into a single committee. Frankly, I think they're very distinctly different issues, and I think the formation of this committee recognizes that, and security is a vital issue that, unfortunately, under any circumstances, with us for the long haul. We don't need any reminders. I think that our transportation system remains a leading terror target. The events of the last few weeks have just underscored what we already knew. And I think we do have in place a strong strategy with law enforcement partners to protect our system, to police it, to harden our facilities, and to promote public awareness. We're doing all of those things right now. I think the challenge sometimes is not are we doing those things, but do we continue to do them? Are we vigilant about the way that we're doing it, about keeping the focus on what we're doing? And I think with that in mind, this committee, which has a singular focus on meeting with that purpose, to gain an appreciation for that, for have the discussion with Doug and his team, and to bring that together, I think is very, very important for us. What my hope is, and in some ways I think it's helpful that this is followed right after the CPOC meeting. I think that at CPOC we've been successful over the last year in keeping real tight focus on our capital program. I think we're making real progress at doing that. And I think this committee now will be a place that we can have the discussion, obviously in executive session when we need to, that will allow us to continually assess where we stand in regard to the changing issues and evolving issues that occur in relation to security. As we began to talk about this, and as I began to think about it, I couldn't think of a committee that was more important for me to chair. And I will chair this. And once I made that statement, it appeared to me that each of us who are the heads of committees, operating committees and other committees across the company, need to be at this table, and we need to have this discussion. Having said that, the reality is this is Doug's committee. I can pretend occasionally to be able to say something about transportation. I recognize my limits by a long shot on the security issues, and I think we needed to be guided by Doug Ziegler and his team. He has 40 years of experience. We were fortunate to be able to get him to lead this effort. And with that in mind, I want to turn this over to Doug and let him take through. It is by necessity much of what this committee does will be in executive session. But I think that Doug does want to make some remarks and offer some thoughts in public session before we go into executive session.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me now? Okay. Thank you. During the last appearance that I had before the board, as you recall, I took a look at where we were in the MTA in terms of security strategy. And basically what I found at that time was that you had a comprehensive security strategy in place, and that it was also moving in the right direction. But one of the things I spoke about at the time was I said I wanted to make sure that we didn't become complacent and that we didn't become stale with respect to the things that we do. And so one of the things that I said I was going to do is take a hard look at how do we move forward? How do we ensure that we have a strategy in place that makes it flexible to changes in times, flexible in changes in terms of what intelligence may bring us. And so today, that's what we're kind of doing. We're going to show you some of the steps that we're going to be taking in the future in terms of what we should be doing in terms of ensuring that the security of the MTA is maintained. As you can see from the proposed 2011-2012 work plan, there are three topics that we're talking about primarily. One is a risk-based monitoring topic. The other deals with strategic security reviews. And the final one deals with crime controls. Now let me talk a little bit about the three of them. The focus of risk-based monitoring deals with our capital projects. Basically, how do we monitor those projects? What are we doing to harden our facilities? How are we keeping our schedules on top? And so I'm bringing that to you for this reason primarily. We want to ensure that we have your endorsement on these projects. We want to ensure that you have the ability to review them to ensure that we are on schedule, that we are doing the things that you feel that should be done to secure the system. Now, when you talk about the second topic, which is strategic reviews, that's a broad-based one. That's broad, dealing with a lot of the security issues that we come across. For instance, you're going to see an example today in terms of our risk assessment. What do we do to ensure that we're doing the correct things to ensure that our strategy is on target and that our strategy is relevant to what we should be doing? So that's what some of the things, as we go across 2011 to 2012, you're going to see more of that. But today you're going to see a presentation with respect to that. And the third topic that you're going to constantly see is crime conditions. Now, when I talk about crime conditions, when I think of a security strategy, when you look at the barometer of security strategy, whether it's healthy, you got to think about crime. Crime is something that you cannot divorce from a security strategy. So we're going to be continuing to talk about security throughout the 2011-2012 work plan. However, it's going to be a little different from what you normally get when you get from the agencies. We're not going to just rattle off stats. We're basically going to talk about we're going to push back a little bit from the individual agencies and talk about the system as a whole, how it affects us, how it affects the system, what are the trends that makes it that are out there. So that's kind of like where we're going with those three topics. Now today, with respect to those topics, you're going to hear two presentations. One presentation is going to be by Phil Hoffman, who's from MTA Security, who's going to talk about our risk assessment, the process on, first of all, why we do it, and the process on how we get it done. The second presentation is going to be from Joe Christian from MTA Capital Construction, where he's going to give you an update on the efforts that we're taking to harden our facilities, the electronic mitigation strategies that we incorporate into our security strategy. So those are going to be the two presentations we're going to be today. But I want to emphasize the fact that the work plan that you have before you is just a roadmap. It's a roadmap in the sense that it's a guide to where we want to go. But we're looking for your review. We're looking for your endorsement with respect to this. That's very, very important. In addition, I want to point out the fact that we have a couple of gentlemen with us today that's very, very important as part of our team. One is Michael Cohen, who's the MTA Chief PD, and also Chief Owen Monahan from the NYPD Transit Bureau. Big partner with respect to what we're doing. So with that said, I want to move this meeting on by first giving the presentation by Phil Hoffman. He's over there ready to go. Oh.
Yeah, no, we have to go to the exec session before you.
Oh, okay.
Before you do that, let me ask this on the question of the work plan that Doug has put forth, which is contained in this book. Is there any discussion that people would like to have now, which could be handled in public session? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session for security matters that would otherwise endanger or imperil public safety.
I move we go into executive session.
Second. In favor? Okay. So if we can clear the room for that before we do anything else.
Okay.
Thank you.